के संग थोड़ी देखी चेस थ्योरी इन डेप्थ कमेंटरी यहाँ कवरेज है बेमिसाल इम्प्रूवमेंट होगी तेरी ब्लंडर से ब्रिलियंसी बनना चाहे तू भी तार शतरंज का कमाल शतरंज का कमाल शतरंज का कमाल शतरंज का कमाल शतरंज का देख ले मुझे मैं आंखें मिला लूं ट्रैप लगा के मैं नर्वस करा दूं तुझे क्या पता तू करेगा खता फिर मैच की कथा को प्रथा बना दूं टिक टाइम जा रहा है नीचे प्रेशर तुझे मिस टेक में खींचे गुरुजी ने इसे काबल बनाया पीसेस के यूं खड़े कर दूंगा बगीचे 1 मिनट बगीचे हाँ बगीचे अटैकिंग प्लेयर हो यार ढूंढ ले चेक्स कैप्चर्स थ्रेड्स इन दिस पोजीशन ढूंढ ले हर मन में खोज ले बेस्ट डिसीजन जब हो जाए सही कैलकुलेशन इससे बेटर फील नहीं है यार शतरंज का कमाल शतरंज का कमाल शतरंज का कमाल शतरंज का कमाल शतरंज का कमाल
Hello. Welcome everyone. This is Sagar Shah and we are live for the awaited Champions Chess Tour. This is the second edition, sort of the 2022. We followed it very closely in 2021 and the games seem to have already begun. Let me just see if things have started or they haven't begun yet. It seems like the players have begun. Second, let me just... Guys, welcome to everyone here. And have the game started? Guys, I'm not sure if the games have begun, but you could let me know if they have started already. Games have not started. Okay, so that means I think I'm all good. I was just worried if the games have started and now they have begun, I think. Yes, the games have started and Magnus Carlsen on your screen here has begun with G3. We're going to follow a lot of interesting games, but Magnus is playing against Artemiev. On your screen, you can see them. Magnus Artemiev on your right. And then we also have Anish versus Nodirbek, Pragnananda versus Liem Quang. So just to give you an idea of all the players who are playing here, this is the list right now. This is the current list. You have Pragnananda from India, Magnus Carlsen, Anish Giri, Nepomniachtchi, Liren, Liem Quang, Levon Aronian, Nodirbek, Koscienyuk. You have Artemiev, Keymer, Esipenko, Mamedyarov, Duda, Niemann, and Eric Hansen. So that's going to be exciting. I'm currently in Pune, and that's where I'm streaming from. So Magnus Carlsen has started his game with g3 in the game, and he's played this very calmly. He's played this Reti system, and maybe he wants to castle next. We'll see how that goes. But Anish Giri is playing against Nodirbek, and Nodirbek plays his favorite line, which he also played at the World Rapid and Blitz against Magnus, which starts with e4 here. And after bishop b4, d3, d6, a3, Anish would be looking for his revenge here. He would have come well prepared. I remember talking to Anish about this opening, and he told me, black can kind of equalize quite easily here, but many times you forget what the line is. So b4, he went bishop b6, knight a4, bishop came here, rook b1. Because if you take here, black is happy to take back with the knight and put it in the center. So rook b1, bishop g4, pinning the knight, which controls the d4 square. Bishop e2, he takes, bishop takes, queen e7. You can see Anish playing very quickly, bishop e3, knight d8. He takes here, ed4, castles g3. Nodirbek wants to put his bishop there and play f4, knight d7, bishop g2. And now, what do you think, guys? Will Anish play here? What do you think? यश मणि गुप्ता कह रहे हैं सागर भाई सीसीटी का कोई भी टूर्नामेंट आता है आप पहुंच जाते हो ये ऑनलाइन है ना, सो आई डोंट हैव टू गो एनीवेयर. या आई कैन बी हियर इन पुणे. आई वाज एक्चुअली Akshit Karande says b6, but Akshit, something better. Actually, Anish is thinking over here. Abhishek Garg says c5. Not bad, Abhishek. But after take, there could be pressure here. Mistadam says knight e6. And look at what Anish has done, guys. I was thinking he would go a5, but he's played the move g5 in this position. Wow. The time control is 15 minutes plus 10 seconds increment. G5 controlling the f4 square. And if Nodirbek plays f4, then I think Anish would take, pawn takes, and now use this file to his advantage by going king h8, rook g8 and attacking here. Wow, this is exciting. Okay, so rook, the position is g5 right now. Let's quickly go and check what our little Pragg is up to. Pragg, playing with the white pieces, opens the game with 1 e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop c4, knight f6, d3. Guys, what's the name of this opening? Can anyone tell me? Sashwat Parida says Abdusattorov is also surprised with this move. Yes, actually you can see there Abdusattorov. Anish and Abdusattorov look so similar, guys. Look at them. They both, don't you think? They look so similar. Yes, Italian game. Ritik Agarwal, hey there. Meera Tripathi, Avnish Agarwal, Amol Jain. Absolutely. It is the Italian opening. And he plays bishop e7. Well, not the most common move. The most common move is to put the bishop here. Both look smart. Yeah, I agree with you, Rishabh Kuti. Bishop e7, castles, knight to c3. Wow, Pragnananda. Well, the main thing is generally you put your pawn here, but because Liem Quang put his bishop on e7, Pragnananda said, well, now knight c3 looks better. d6 was played, a3, so that if knight a5 is played, you can drop back your bishop to a2. Bishop e6, Pragg went in knight d5. Now you cannot take with the knight because e5 forks the two pieces here. So he played knight d4, and now Pragg is thinking for his move here. We have Pragnananda on the top over there above us. And look at what Magnus is eating. Magnus always eating some kind of noodles, yeah? Anish looks younger than Abdusattorov. No, I don't think so. Come on. Come on, guys. Abdusattorov is 16. No. 2000. I think, yeah, 16 years old. And Anish is 94 born. So 27. That's a lot of 10 years is a lot of difference. Let's quickly see what Anish's game has. The move that was played by Abdusattorov was like, Anish, look, you have played g5. You have weakened your king a bit. Okay. Now what I will do is I will open up the position on the queen side. And that is such an interesting move by Abdusattorov, because if you take here, then he would play rook b8 and at least defend this pawn. But what white would do is he would take here, knight takes, pawn takes, and now b7 is under a lot of pressure. And now if you play rook b8, that is not going to work, because queen h5, you have tremendous pressure. I mean, exchanging d7 knight for a4 knight is a very good deal. So that's the reason why Anish said, I'm not exchanging. He puts his knight on e6. He tries to keep everything in the center. e5. Abdusattorov is like, take that, Anish. Now I'm opening up this bishop here. And he's pushed his pawn. This is very exciting. Parth Avasare says, Sagar, who do you think will win, Pragg or Liem? Very tough to say. Very tough to say. But I hope that Pragnananda does well. This is, he's got a chance to be a part of the Champions Chess Tour, because he won the Challengers Chess Tour last year. So e5, and he's putting pressure here. Actually, if knight e5, maybe Abdusattorov wants to go f4, gf4, gf4, f5, f6. I mean, look at this, guys. Look at this. f4. Take, maro. Ab wapas gaya, push. Knight goes somewhere. I would love to push, but okay, right now you have it covered. So it's actually very dangerous. And this is the brand of play that Abdusattorov loves to play. He likes to attack and he likes to go all in. So that's what he's doing against Anish. Jeremy says, hi from France. A lot of new gen players in India. Yes, Jeremy, that is for sure. One of them is playing here, and that is Pragnananda. And Pragnananda against Liem Quang has moved his knight to g5. And he's attacking this bishop. If Pragg can take this, that could be a nice deal for him. I think what Liem would do here is pick bishop takes d5. That's what he might do in this position. Levon Aronian was playing until yesterday, and now he's playing this. Yes, bishop d5 has been played. E takes d5 by Pragg. Okay, I have one question to you guys. What would you do if knight takes d5? Why is this a bad move? Because see, if I take here, you are going to take here. So what's a good move for white in this position? White to play. Let's see how many of you are still awake. The Champions Chess Tour starts very late in the night. So I just want to see. And by the way, guys, please do like the stream. I want 1000 likes here if you can do it. Let's get it rolling. Yes, very good. Shaibi Binoj. Let me see how many people have answered this. Wow. Knight f7, guys. All those who said knight f7, brilliant job. Sports with Tanish, Shaibi Binod, chess is more than fun. Meera Tripathi, Rohan's chess, Dufresne, Adit Grover, Shobit Joshi, Josuke Uchiha, Atharva. Well done, guys. Well done. That is the correct move. And here, knight f7 would be a killer shot, because then let's say you take with the rook, I take with the bishop, and this is pinned and winning for white. Okay, Pragg takes here, and Liem Quang is thinking. So Pragg has a nice position. Very interestingly, let's go to Magnus Carlsen's game against Artemiev. Magnus went for c4, takes knight a3, castles knight c4. That's a nice position for white. His knights are nicely placed here. He played b3. Clearly not afraid of any discovered attacks here, because he can just move the rook. So knight c6, bishop b2, bishop e6, rook c1, rook c8, d3, b6, queen d2. Queen d2 slightly, I mean, generally this knight comes from here, but he's played his queen to d2, and it's a very, I think what he wants to do perhaps is go bishop c3 and queen b2. That could be his idea, to shift it there. Nathan Yates says, just waking up on the west coast of the US. Very cool, very cool. Esipenko won? What? Whom did he beat? No. Oh, he's playing against Shakhriyar Mamedyarov, but has a huge advantage. Look at this. But isn't his bishop trapped here? Oh, but he's actually attacking here. What was the mistake actually? I mean, where did Shakhriyar go wrong? Right in the opening. My goodness. Look at this, guys. Look at this blunder. Shakhriyar goes knight c6. Oh shit. This is like a huge blunder. I mean, rook e8 was better, but he goes knight c6. Takes, and what's the winning move here, guys? Come on, quickly in the chat. Let me see how many of you can find this very easy move. Rohan's Chess says, just having dinner in Sweden. Wow, we have people from all across the globe following this. It's late in night in India. Pragnananda is not going to have an easy time playing here, but I think Pragg has such a great opportunity playing against these top players. He's going to grab it with both his hands. And let's see how many of you have found the answer here. Wow, absolutely everyone has found the move. And that is amazing. e5 is the move here, and the beauty of this move is that you cannot take here because your queen would hang, and otherwise you're losing a piece. So he just lost a piece like that. And Shakhriyar is one of the best players in the world. So guys, anything can happen at any time. Aditya Jain, Pallavi Kashyap, Meera Tripathi, Manan Nath, Yash, Chess is more than fun, Mista Dam, Sports with Tanish, No Name, and Divyansh. Well done. That is the right answer. So e5 was played in this position, and that's winning. Let's go to Anish Giri's game. What did Anish do? Anish, after playing e5, he took here, and Abdusattorov didn't play f4. He took on b7. Anish said, I'm attacking your rook. Maybe Anish could have played his rook to e8, but he played rook b8, bishop g2, g4, rook e8, rook e1 was played, and now Anish has a nice position, you know, guys, because he pushed this pawn to g4. So now f4 is not so easy. I'll play en passant, and he will play h5, h4. Ramit Malhotra, hi Ramit, how are you? Hi Sagar, long time, long weekend here, so finally able to enjoy a full stream. Will catch up offline, but wanted to send some love to CBI and Pragg. Thank you, Ramit, and I hope that you were able to do some chess activity in Microsoft. Ramit is from Microsoft, and we had connected at some point, so I hope, Ramit, everything's good with you. f5, look at this. Anish is like, I am going for your blood, Nodirbek. I am coming here. You know, you beat me in the World Cup, you eliminated me, and today is revenge time. I'm going to push my pawn down the board. If you look at it, it looks like black's position is slightly exposed. But guys, the thing is, how does white take advantage of it? Because this knight on e5 is such a monster. Also, the knight on a4 really wants to get into the game. But if you take on d6, what do you take back with, guys? Come on, tell me. Do you take with the queen? Do you take with the pawn? Very easy. It's a very easy question. Nodirbek and Anish, all those who are joining right now, they're like, oh, have you put 2 cameras of Anish here? Of course, pawn. Yash Pratap Singh, you are absolutely right. You take back with the pawn. Don't take with the queen. Asim Khan says, Sagar, why you teach us king safety, but these GMs do opposite things. The main thing is, if you have central stability, if your opponent cannot break open the position, it's worth doing that. By the way, he's taken on d6, Anish has taken back, and now queen b3 has been played. And you will see that he will place his king on h8 when it's very difficult to attack down this diagonal. Okay, going to the game of Pragnananda. What is up with Pragg? In this position, after ed, knight d7 was played, attacking here. Knight e4, f5, knight d2. Pragnananda is like, come at me. f4, Liem Quang wants to play f3 at the right time, breaking Pragg's position. c3, first go back, knight f5, and now he goes rook e1. Maybe rook e1 was fine. He goes king h8, and Pragg has to decide now where to. I mean, he has a lovely square on e4 for his knight, but he has to be afraid of this f3 break at the right time. Right now it's not coming, so we'll have to see. Black also has the plan of shifting his queen down this diagonal and trying to attack. Okay, so this is what the situation is right now in this game. You can see that. But the most exciting game by far of this round is definitely Anish Giri versus Abdusattorov. He's played his king to h8 and Abdusattorov moves in with his queen. Now there's no real threat as of now, but maybe Abdusattorov is already hinting at getting his knight to c5. Because see, let's just imagine I make a waiting move. I think that knight c5 is not so stupid, because then you have knight takes c5, because if pawn takes, I can take queen e5, that's just winning. But knight c5, pawn c5, and now I'll play intermediate takes. Maybe this is what white is aiming for. dc, rook takes, and knight f3, and I win this rook. So yeah, somehow tactics working out here. But let's see what Anish comes up with here after queen d5. He has to figure out what needs to be done. And look at what Pragnananda has done here. Pragnananda has played his knight to f3. Now I'm a little bit worried about that knight. You know, what is your plan to g5? Oh, he goes knight h4. Guys, what should white play now? Come on, can you tell me what would you play here as white? It's not a winning position or anything, but what would you do? Mamedyarov resigned. Yeah, he had lost a piece, so he was good. Yes, absolutely correct. Chat, you are doing amazingly well. Love it. Break in the center is important. Jod or what? Harish Nair, Meera Tripathi, Rohan's Chess, Aditya Jain, Mistadam, Venkatesh Deshpande, Saswat Parida, Yashmani Gupta, Hussein Faik. Well done, guys. The move here that I was looking for is d4, and Pragnananda has also played it. Break in the center, because you know you have the bishop pair, you want to open up the position, and that's what he has done. Coming back to Anish's game, Anish now has played f4, and guys, I told you knight c5 is in the air. Anish had to actually play here knight g5. Looking at this check here, he would have had a great position here, but instead he goes f4, and Abdusattorov was like, wait a minute, Anish, I can now get my knight on a4, which was misplaced and out of the game, into the game. You cannot take d takes c5 because queen takes e5 is hanging, and if you take knight c5, I can take back with the pawn. And guys, this time there's small differences, because if you take here b takes c5, last time d takes c5 was working, but this time what has happened is that some changes with this f4, so rook bc1, putting pressure here, could come into the picture. Let's see how Anish responds. You know, this is the thing with playing against these young guys, they are so tactically alert that they put you under tremendous pressure. And you can look at Nodirbek's expressions there. He's like, I'm enjoying myself. He's just grooving there. While Anish has gotten worried. He looks very, very tense there. Oh, he goes knight to g5. Now Anish is looking at this move. Guys, can you find an unbelievable move for white? Unbelievable. I don't think anyone in the chat can find it. But if you can, I'm going to bow down to all the people who find this move. Oh, he doesn't find it. He doesn't find it. He doesn't find it. But guys, that was a brilliant move. It was an unbelievable move. Let me see if anyone is able to find in this position white to move. What is the move here? Oof. Chess is beautiful. Let me see chat. Just, oh my god. Yes, some people have found it. Who is this? Who are they? Chess is more than fun. Azmai in 10. Manas Agarwal. Ajay Parwani. Well done, guys. Look at this move. यार ये मूव क्या है, मतलब it is so beautiful. Knight d7, forking here. You can't take with the knight because your queen will hang, so you take with the queen, but then I play rook takes e5. Now you can't take because your queen is hanging and the knight is also attacked. What a tactic, right? What a move. And yeah, well, otherwise, I mean, but he took on d4 and now Anish can play queen f6, which he has done in the game, breaking the spin, threatening the nasty check on f3 and winning this. Guys, earlier I know you would have been tempted for knight f3 check or first knight f3, bishop f3, knight f3, but this is pinned. You can't do it. It's an illegal move. So that's the reason why this has happened. Wasn't that amazing, guys? Knight d7 was so good. Okay, going back to Pragnananda's game, after d4, he took on f3, queen f3, bishop f6, Pragg goes bishop d3. He's like, I can now try and attack here on h7, g6, rook e4, bishop g7, bishop d2, and Pragg is bringing in his other rook into the position. I like white's position. Pragg is slightly better. Magnus Carlsen against Vladislav Artemiev. Around equalish position, interesting one. Magnus loves such positions. c6 square is slightly soft. He might be looking at that at some point. It's around equal. Meanwhile, Abdusattorov has moved his king to h1. He's like, Anish, I'm not going to give you this knight f3 check here. I've just moved my king away. And Anish Giri has to decide. You know, you would love to play f3 because then the bishop is closed, but bishop f1, and then these two knights are not getting this square. So that's the reason why it's not easy. Levon won. Oh, Levon Aronian is winning or what? Wow, Levon Aronian is beating Jan Nepomniachtchi. Jan Nepomniachtchi, the world championship challenger, is really in a bad position. I don't even know why he's worse, but I think I get it. Black's main idea is h5, and if you take f5 is weak. If you push g5, still f5 falls. So that's the reason why Levon is better here. Ding Lijian's game. You want to see Ding Lijian? Ding Lijian is playing against, who's Ding's opponent? Ding might be having a sleepless nights today in this tournament again. Will he be able to do well? I doubt. He's playing against Vincent Keymer and Keymer. I think it's Keymer. And white is slightly better. You must take cd5 in this position, not this, because then bishop d7, and guys, this is 15 minutes plus 10 seconds increment, not classical. And look at Magnus's move. Magnus goes b4. As I said, he is angling for the c6 square. If you take, my knight comes in, I attack here, and that's the reason why he's broken with b4. But Artemiev can take this pawn on a2. Let's see if he takes it or not. Meanwhile, Anish Giri down to 4 minutes 23 seconds, playing very, very slow. Oh, and look at this. Right now, Pragnananda's game has moved forward and he's brought his queen to g5. The question is, can Pragg take on e5? But then maybe d5, knight e5 attacks the queen. So good idea could be to bring in your last piece into the game, rook e1. But yeah, I mean, how does white break through? That is the question. It's not so simple. He might have to go rook e1 and de, knight e5, and then come back to e2. That could be the point, because f3 is not possible. Your queen is hanging. And Anish's game, some things have moved forward. After king h1, he took on g3, knight f3. He took, queen takes, king g1. And now he went back queen f6. Once again, with a nasty threat of check here. I think Nodirbek can repeat king h1, queen f3, king g1, queen f6. I guess Anish would be okay with a draw there. But will Nodirbek be okay with a draw? What do you think, guys? Sachin Ranade says, I'm playing 15+5 tournament tomorrow, apna local CCT. Well, all the best, Sachin. Do well. Do you think he'll accept a draw? Anish should win, says Parth. But yeah, king h1. Nodirbek has played king h1. Now, the main thing is you can't take the knight, as the e5 knight is also hanging. So it's not a great idea. I think Anish, yeah, Anish is repeating. They are repeating, guys. You can see Anish quickly moving back. And guys, they have repeated. Game has ended in a draw. Anish shakes his head. Nodirbek is also happy to have made his debut with a draw here. But what a game this was. Really close. And now let's focus on the game of Pragnananda. After rook e1, knight f6 was played. Pragg went back. E takes d4 has been taken. And now the d5 pawn is weak. Pragg has to decide what to do. So, to remove Nodirbek and Anish from the screen. And maybe we can have some other players in a bit. Maybe we can have Ding Liren and Vincent Keymer, because Ding Liren, I want to see whether he's feeling sleepy or not right now. Vincent's video is not on. Unable to, maybe. Okay, after e takes d4, what does Pragnananda come up with? Pragnananda has not played his move. Takes queen d5. Okay. Now, can Pragg take this pawn on f4? That seems like a nice pawn. No. Venkat Tejas, there are 4 games today. So, I think I'll cover like 2 rounds. I don't want to stay up until 2:30 a.m. It might be a bit too much, but I'll try to cover until the second round at least. Okay, now queen takes d5 has been taken. Oh, Pragg takes and now attacks here. And that is kind of bailing out by Pragg, because if c6 he wants to take. Let's also have Jan-Krzysztof Duda. There you have Alexandra Koscienyuk on your screen, guys. She is the only female participant in this event, and she is taking on Jan-Krzysztof Duda there. C6 has been played, and I think now he takes. Pragg will go bishop b4. Black will take on d4. Pragg will take on d6. Pragg is a pawn down, but rook is coming in. This is slightly weak. This is slightly weak. He will be able to hold this. So this game could end in a draw. Eric Hansen versus Hans Niemann. Very complicated position, but it seems like right now it's balancing on the edge of equality. Ding Liren versus Vincent Keymer. Vincent is holding his own against Ding, and now rook d4, e d4, knight d1 to b2. That should be a big positional advantage for white, because then he has two central pawns. So Ding Liren in some trouble there. What about Duda and Alexandra Koscienyuk? Koscienyuk under pressure. Look at Duda's pieces, all beautifully positioned on the dark squares. Black wants to enter with his rook, so Duda has a great position there. Levon Aronian, who was clearly better, is still pushing and pressing against Jan Nepomniachtchi. Andrey Esipenko had lost his game to Mamedyarov. Anish versus Nodirbek ended in a draw, and now Magnus Carlsen is playing again. Wow, look at this. You know, from the very little training I had with Surya Ganguly in this structure the other day on Semitara structures, I know that black is doing well here, because black has the queenside majority. Okay, white has the central majority, but the pawns are not running. And f6 is a nice move by Artemiev, stopping e5. se1, yeah, sorry, I might have made a mistake. Esipenko won, Shakhriyar Mamedyarov lost. And Magnus has 4 minutes. Actually, how should Magnus proceed is also a question. While black's plan is simple: b5, a5, b4, a4. Just start pushing your pawns. Magnus, I don't think will convert his central pawns, guys, because e5, let's say he goes f4. Magnus is making use of his imbalance, and I think Artemiev also has to figure out how to get these rolling. Maybe if e5 comes in, fe, fe, then d5 could get dangerous. Oof. Let's see. I felt that the pawns are not so dangerous, but anything against Magnus generally becomes dangerous. Oh, and look at this, guys. Look at what Levon has done here. Levon sacrifices his rook here for the bishop and gives a check. Now you can't come to the first rank because rook is hanging, so you have to go to h3 or g3. And then he takes queen takes e3, and this is game over. This is great calculation by Levon. You just can't offer a queen trade because g1 is controlled by the knight, e1 is controlled by the knight, c1 is the rook. So that's the reason why the knight is going to move next, and you're going to get checkmated. Great play there. And look at Artemiev's move. Artemiev goes e5, Carlsen takes, Artemiev takes back, and now do you want to get a passer here with d5? But then that passer kind of, when you put your pawns on the same color of your bishop becomes passive. So that's the reason why Magnus has an important decision to make: take on e5 or push d5. Yes, last year me and Soumya were commentating on the Skilling Open, and that was amazing. Yeah, we had so many people watching it. It was so much fun. Vidit was playing there. It's great. It was d5. Check here. He goes a5, king h2, and now b5 maybe possible. It's quite possible that Carlsen wants to play bishop h3 and exchange his bishop because it's a bad bishop, and then he gets this pawn as a passer here on d5. Look at this. Levon has played knight to e1, check here, and now the king cannot go to f2, g2, has to go to h2, and then queen f2 here and mate. So that is very powerful. Let's see what Pragnananda is up to, because his position was around equal. He's still a pawn down, but these pawns are doubled and he should be able to hold it. He goes bishop b2, and I think Pragg can go rook c7. But also look at this idea, very cool. You can go rook b1, and after bishop a3, what does white do? How does white win a piece, guys? Only 33 moves for Artemiev. Oof. Rook b3, and this is hanging. That is lost. So you can't take this pawn. Sumit Puri, Hollow Man, Keyboard Warrior, Aditya Jain, well done, guys. Goes king to f7. This is interesting, guys, because okay, the main thing is that Carlsen can never exchange the queens. Magnus has to be careful. All the position is equal, it can become dangerous. Look at Duda now entering the position from here. Look at his pieces, so beautiful. Everyone's playing a role. Rook has come to b1. Next move maybe knight c3, exchange of these knights, get the queen in, plays bishop c2, but now take, queen takes, rook a7 with the idea of rook a1. It's game over. Let's go back to Magnus versus Artemiev game. Magnus Carlsen has somehow managed to create a winning position there. You know, he's gotten with his queen, check, king h5, and now just queen f3, and he's won the game because d pawn will queen. Oh my god. Look at Artemiev shaking his head there. He is unhappy with what has just transpired. How did things change so much? Just in 1 minute, everything went upside down. It's time to resign now. Artemiev plays b3, but I go d. Oh, he takes d7. Yeah, and if you take d8, queen and mate. That is the mate. And here Artemiev is going to resign, and he resigns, and Magnus Carlsen has won his game here. Great victory for the world champion. Just to show you what went wrong, actually, here king g7, queen c5, and he had to go queen a4 trying to create play, but he went here, check, king g8 would have kept the game going, but he just missed that the queen can come back, and that's game over. So Magnus has won his game. Meanwhile, Liem Quang and Pragnananda, as we imagined, has ended in a draw. So that is also good news for Pragg, because starting off with a solid draw is a good achievement. So the games that are currently going on, okay, Duda has also seemed to have won his game. Let's go to Eric Hansen versus Hans Niemann. Duda, let's just see the finish of Duda's game. How did he win? Duda took rook a7, queen f2, check. No, he played rook a2, bishop d1, knight c3, and resigns. Because if knight takes c3, rook takes f2 is hanging. And d1 is also hanging. So resigning was the right decision here. Let's go to Eric Hansen versus Hans Niemann. Hans Niemann is an exchange op. Here, clearly better. We also have Ding Liren versus Vincent Keymer. But I don't think we have their cameras working, so. Somehow not. So only 2 games going on now. Hence Hansen versus Niemann, Ding versus Vincent. Played bishop at 6. Well, although white is material up, these pawns are going down the board. b5 pushed by black. Niemann has to figure out how to stop this plan. It's a simple plan, but it's a very powerful one. Bishop e3 he plays back. If bishop takes e3, he will take here. If knight takes e3, fe3, bishop e3, the lone bishop will not be able to handle it. So a very good move by Hans Niemann. He's a very strong player, guys. Niemann is an excellent chess player, and he has performed so well recently. He's shown his class that he is really one of the upcoming talents in the world of chess. Please bishop to e3. Takes, and now just take on d1, right? That would be the best. If you take on e3, knight e3 unnecessary, but rook d1 is simple. Now first he gives a check. What? fe3? Yeah, knight c3. He didn't even take on e3 back, because Niemann thought that if takes king f2 he should win. Knight c2 and then rook d5, he will clear up these pawns. But look at this move by Hansen. He goes knight c3, and now it's actually Eric Hansen who's winning. These pawns are way more dangerous. Now b4, rook c5, knight a2. Then I have 2 passers and a knight for a rook. Ding Liren is still playing. Ding Liren is still playing against Vincent Keymer. And this is the position. Ding Liren is almost lost. This pawn is going, but if Ding can get this pawn, he should be able to hold. Vincent, if he takes here, takes queen d7, that should be a draw. So you can't go for such a line, and Vincent goes bishop h3 first, protecting his pawn, now threatening rook b2. Rook g6, I think king, oh, if you go king h1, that could be queen a, check here. So king f1 looks better. Why did he not take the pawn with the knight? Well, the main thing is that in this position in Eric's game, it is much more important to get passers here. Oh, by the way, some mistake. So it knight c3 makes more sense to take here rather than taking this pawn. That's not a very important pawn here. b3 was played, knight a2 could have been better. So take b3 takes, rook check, king f6 and rook b7, c4, now maybe just rook b4, and in the end he will take here on c4, b2, rook b4, b1, rook b1, knight b1. He will be a rook down, but he will liquidate the last pawn and the game should end in a draw. h5, and by the way, this is, I think, Ding Lijian's game is the final game now, because this seems to be ending in a draw. Oof, another blunder. b2. Oh, he misses it. He misses it. Hans Niemann has missed it, and you can see his look there. He did not have to play king f2 now. Knight d1 check, and he can resign the game. Guys, that was a massive blunder there. Knight a4, just stopping king from coming to c3. The game was equal, you know, here g4, but the moment he played king f2, b2, so alert. Eric Hansen is very good at tactics, and now he gets his knight there, but just winning. King h6. You can't take on e5, c3, c2, c1. King h6. e4, and now just take on e4, then take on h5. Here it should be easy. Going now to Ding Lijian's game. Wow, look at this. Ding Lijian has made a comeback, it seems. The pawn is not queening anywhere now, and now rook d2 was very strong, but he goes queen c5. There could be a mating attack coming up here. Look at Hans Niemann. He's so sad there. He's so upset. Oh. Meanwhile, Ding Lijian has managed to convert this into a winning position now. Check. What to do? It's a queen f3. You can go. I mean, I would love to play rook d3, but there is d8 queen. Rook d8, then I can take on c3. Ding has started to win this game. Hans Niemann and goes check in here. King g1. Now queen h2 is not yet a mate. There is a square on f1. Meanwhile, white has to be careful. Black has to be careful because white can queen. So how does Ding win this? Good move. Check. And now queen c1 check. Here. Check here. I think that would just stop the game. Queen f1, sort of forced, yeah. Queen c6. King g1 is possible, but then queen d6 with the idea of queen h2 mate. It's not so simple for Vincent. He goes queen g2, and his point is, if you take here, I will first queen with a check, king moves out, and then I'll take on g2. So careful here, we have to be very careful. Actually, the winning idea here is check, queen f1 and queen c7. I don't know if the Englishmen can find it. Oh, look at this, guys. Vincent has fought back after check, queen g2, queen d6. Sorry for that small lag. He goes now. Rook takes b2 should be taken. Rook b2. Can he find it? I think that would end in a draw. So rook here. If let's say take, if you take on g2, I can go king g2, and now this is really good because I have a pawn on the 7th rank. But it's not so simple. It's 5, 4, 3, 2. Oh, Vincent has to play. What did he play? He gave a check. But now black is once again winning. Oh, I am actually in Pune, guys. Bishop g2. Now rook d1 is over, no? Queen d7 is also fine. Yeah. He missed his chance. f5. But this was a very nice defensive try. Rook takes b2. And if rook d1, queen g1. Just getting rid of the b2 pawn, placing your trust on the d7 pawn. And I think black has no other way but to accept a draw here. g6, thing is going slow now. He has 4 pawns for a piece, clearly winning position. So rook d4. Guys, you were trying to tell me that Hikaru is playing against Arjun, right? What happened there? It goes rook d4. Wow. And look at this finish, no, guys? Queen e2. Now rook h4. King h4. Queen h2 check. We're having a nice finish. King g4. f5. No, king f3. Just a second. How does this move? Actually, check. Takes queen h2. King g4. Queen h5. And win the queen. Equal position. Okay, for so queen f4, bishop f3, rook d2, and now Vincent has lost this. Ding Liren has won because the moment the queen moves, there is a mate here. Oof, Ding would be relieved. He started off with a win against a talented youngster, so that is a good result for him. With this, we finish the first round of this Champions Chess Tour and Airthings Masters. And let's have a look at the standings now. What is the standing like? We have Magnus Carlsen with a win. You know, win counts for 3 points this time. Draw is 1 point. So Magnus with a win, 3 points. Ding Liren also with a win, 3 points. Levon Aronian beating Nepomniachtchi, 3 points. Jan-Krzysztof Duda also on 3 points, beating Alexandra. Koscienyuk. Esipenko beat Mamedyarov, 3 points, and Hansen beating Hans Niemann 3 points. Anish on 1. Pragnananda is also on 1. And this is how things stand before the second round will begin shortly. Until then, we check the game of Arjun. What is Arjun's ID, guys? What is Arjun's ID that he's playing with? Yes, Pragg will be playing against Eric Hansen. And we did see the game of Esipenko, right? This very cool move e5 came in and he lost a piece. Sid Khanna, thank you so much for your super chat saying Sagar Bhai looking cute. Thank you so much. Oh, Vidit is also playing against Rakhmanov. Okay, maybe we can just have a small thing open, yeah, where we can look at these games. Oh, Arjun lost, no, to Nakamura. Guys, round 2, let's look at the standings. We just saw the standings. Let's have a look at the pairings for the second round that we are going to see now. These are the pairings: Artemiev versus Liem Quang, Liem, Eric Hansen versus Pragnananda. This is going to be a great game that to follow. Maybe Pragg gets his chance here. Ding Liren against Hans Niemann, Duda versus Vincent, Aronian versus Koscienyuk, Mamedyarov versus Nepo, Anish Giri versus Esipenko. Anish facing all the young talents right now, and Magnus versus Nodirbek once again. This game we cannot miss because it is one of those games where Magnus had lost to Nodirbek in the previous time they played against each other at the World Rapid. So let's see if Magnus can take revenge this time and get the full point. Let's go to the game. There we have both the players on the screen. Magnus Carlsen versus Nodirbek Abdusattorov, and this time Magnus has the white pieces once again. He opens with g3. It looks like Magnus's go-to weapon in this tournament. g3, knight f6, bishop g2, g6, knight f3, g6, castles, bishop g7, c4, d takes c4, knight a3, c5, knight c4, knight to c6, and Nodirbek has taken no time, 15 minutes 54 seconds. Magnus has 14 minutes 38 seconds there. That's one game for sure. The other one is Esipenko versus Anish, also a very good game to follow. And one more would then be Pragnananda taking on Eric Hansen. I think Eric's game got over a little late, so maybe the game might not have started. Okay, the game seems to have started. Bishop a3 has been played here, attacking the c5 pawn. I mean, you could want to play b6, but then you have to be careful about knight takes e5. Knight takes bishop a8, and you lose an exchange. So you don't want to play b6 to defend this pawn. Then how to defend it? Maybe just knight d7. Okay, let's have a look at what's happening now. How do you defend this pawn is the question. So b6 is one move we saw is not good because of knight e5. Knight d7 is another move that is possible. There's also bishop e6, because if bishop takes c5 here, let's say bishop e6, bishop takes c5, then maybe knight e4 attacking your bishop, and then the rook is hanging. So it's not so clear whether this pawn is hanging, guys, because bishop c5, there is knight e4. But Nodirbek has begun to think here, and he's played his knight to e4. That is his move. He is defending this way and also attacking the rook. But now rook c1, I believe, is what Magnus is going to play. Yes, and I think, guys, Magnus has a very nice position out of the opening. It's not going to be easy. b6 is just now again the same problem. Yeah, I'll just move my knight, e4 under pressure, c6 under pressure, a8 under pressure, d3 coming up. So that seems pretty bad. Let's quickly go and check the game of Pragnananda versus Eric Hansen. Pragg is playing with the black pieces here, and he is playing e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop b5, a6, the Ruy Lopez on the board, and now Arkhangel's variation with bishop c5, c3, rook b8, a4, rook b8, c3, d6, d4, bishop b6, a5, bishop a7, h3, bishop b7, rook e1, castles. And look at Pragnananda's time. He has 16 minutes 27 seconds. Pragg is black. Eric Hansen has 13 minutes 34 seconds. Eric won his first round game against Hans Niemann, so he must be in good spirits right now. But Pragnananda has played so quickly out of the opening, it will definitely put pressure on Eric Hansen. Anish Giri, meanwhile, against Andrey Esipenko, they went for Ruy Lopez, and Anish exchanges on c6, the deferred Ruy Lopez exchange, takes, d3, knight d7, knight to c3, castles, bishop e3, f6, h3, bishop d6, knight e2, and now knight c5. So generally such positions are around even. Even here it's the same, but white can try for c3, knight g3, and d4 in the position. Sorry guys, there was a very small lag there, but I'm back. And here bishop e3 has been played by Eric. I think Pragg has to be careful now because d5 and d5 threats are in the air. And then this bishop could come under pressure. So maybe take on d4, cd4, knight b4 with the idea of d5 or c5 could be a possibility. Let's see what happens next now. Meanwhile, let's go back to Magnus's game against Nodirbek. After rook c1, Nodirbek goes knight b4. Took quite a long think. He is putting pressure here on a2. So Magnus is thinking, should I take on b4, or is there some tactic with my center strategy with d4, or can I go knight e5 with the idea of attack on e4? So these are few possibilities that Magnus has in this position, but Nodirbek, has to be careful, because Magnus is really looking for his blood after he lost this game against Nodirbek at the World Rapid 2021. So knight to b4. Knight to move. What should I play? Meanwhile, Anish Giri has this very solid structure. Anish understands his opponents well, and he's like, against Esipenko, this is the way I should do it. I should just go very, very solid and then break with f4 at the right time. Yes, I'm in Pune, guys. Everyone's sleeping in this house, so I have to be a little bit soft. Let's have a look quickly at what Magnus Carlsen is doing, guys. Magnus Carlsen against Nodirbek, Abdusattorov. After knight b4, Magnus has been thinking for a long time. You can see him there. He's not even looking at the board. Like, baaju mein dekh raha hai, idhar udhar. Like, what should I play now is Magnus's thought. He's not so sure. Still thinking about his move. Let's quickly move to the game between Levon Aronian and Alexandra Koscienyuk. I like Aronian's position here because d takes and getting the knight in the center is a good idea. Snigdho Bhattacharya, thank you for becoming backer of Indian Chess, our first member for today. Thank you so much. And meanwhile, Pragnananda has, after some thought, not a lot of thought, he took on d4 and has moved to b4. And this is exactly what we were talking about. He can now play d5. He can also play c5. So Black's knight is well positioned on the b4 square. It's also looking at a few of the squares in White's camp there. So Pragnananda, good preparation, helping him, because now e4 pawn is also hanging, guys. Look at this. The e4 pawn bhi mar raha hai. It's not so simple. It's not so simple. If I go d5, maybe bishop e3, or even c5, with the idea of c4 at some point, like c5 is a very interesting move. And now Esipenko has gone with his knight to d4, and I think Anish has a decision to make. He takes. And now if you take with the pawn, I have like a kingside majority, so he takes with the queen, rightly so. Knight to e3, being solid, topping f5 in some ways. Bishop e6, king h1. Anish is looking at f4 for sure. Anish says that, look, I have a great structure. Dekho mera pawns bahut hi badhiya. I have no weaknesses. It's a bulletproof position. Oh, by the way, guys, if I play f4, why is that a mistake? Can anyone tell me here? Black to play. What would black do in this position? Let's see. Who can find the best move for black here? Let's see how many of you were able to guess this. Yes, queen takes e4 is the correct move. This has been guessed by Samarth, Surya, Shobhit, Aryan Goswami, Tizya Kumar, Ritankar Nath, Kamal Sharma, Vasant Kumar, Prarth Dhanwani, and Abhishek Deshpande. So here you just take on e4, and now if he takes back, rook d2, Otherwise, just snatched a pawn. Rook fd8. He goes rook fd1. And now the queen is protected, so queen takes e4 is not possible. And not here, Esipenko goes queen b4. And guys, should Anish exchange the queens or not? Yeah, he should not exchange. Correct. Guys, this is the right solution, because why to take the queen here? Let's keep it on e2. Shouldn't exchange. Very good, guys. Magnus now, after knight to b4, when knight e5. Okay, interesting move. Knight d6, because e4 was hanging. So knight takes d6, pawn takes d6. Maybe taking with the queen was much better, but he takes with the pawn. And now Magnus inserts the move bishop b4. If you take, then bishop takes c5, takes, and knight to d3. All of a sudden, Magnus is attacking the b4 pawn, which is not so simple to defend. Let's say you play a5 here, then I have control of a very important square here. White to move. What is that square? Can anyone tell me? What should white play here? Let's try to find. What is the move here? What is the move for white in this position? It's a very nice move. And yes, Nikita Kocharin, well done. Shaibi Binoj, very good. The move here is knight f4 with the idea of controlling d5, and that is an important move. So once you get here with your bishop backing it, it's such a massive square here, such a massive square. Varat Pangam, Aryan Joshi, well done, young chess player. It's a very good move. And he's still thinking here. Meanwhile, Anish Giri's game, he did go queen e2 side, put his queen on the side, and now he's offering a trade. Interesting. Meanwhile, Pragdananda, after his move knight to b4, his opponent played knight c3, and Pragg has been thinking for 4 minutes now what to do. There is e4 pawn hanging, but why can't we take here is the question, guys. What is the problem after take and take? And this is white to move. What is the winning move for white here? Very important to spot all the loose pieces in the position. Any piece that is undefended could become a tactical point, a tactical target. What should here white do? Bishop g5. Interesting move. Bishop g5. Can I not play queen e8? Also, there is bishop f3, right? I mean, you will just lose. You will lose the game, not even win. Bishop g5. I have bishop takes f3, threatening your bishop, also your queen. The only move is queen d2, but I mean, in the worst case, I can just move my queen. You can't take both, so you will take maybe b4. Black is doing well there. So, not bishop g5, but the move here is, let me see if anyone found it, bishop d2. Well done, guys. Amazing. Kamal Sharma, Shaibi Binoj, kabhi पीछे भी आना पड़ता है, राहुल नोरोना, हर्षित गुप्ता, संदीप रेड्डी, हर्ष शांडिल्य, उत्सव तीजिया कुमार, पार्थ धनवानी, Divvardhan Agarwal, excellent job guys. Bishop to d2, क्योंकि bishop वापसी जाके इस पे attack, and also here if you now take bishop takes f3, then queen takes f3, and now this knight doesn't have a square to go back to. If you play c5, I'll get rook a d1. I have pressure in the position, I have the bishop pair. This should be very good position for white. So, oh, by the way, he's taken knight e4. He took, look at this smart guy. He didn't take first with the knight, bishop takes, and then bishop d2. He first took with the bishop. That is very interesting. And the main point being that bishop d2 makes no sense now because the knight is in between. So I can just save the bishop. And he took, and now bishop d2 not possible because knight takes d2. And then the move here that has been played already by Eric Hansen is bishop f4. And now this is hanging, but Pragnananda has a strong move here which will give him the advantage. Black to play, guys. What would you play? What would you play here? Goes rook c1. Yeah, this d5, very powerful move, cementing the center. Rook c1, rook c8. Next move maybe c6 also coming up, or better still c5. Rook c8, and next move c6 or c5 is what he wants to do. And meanwhile, Anish has played f4 here, and in this endgame he is going to press endlessly, guys. This is going to be a very instructive endgame because now he goes g4. We already remember Anish, actually it was Anish, right, at the Tata Steel who beat Esipenko with those 3 pawns against a piece. So g5, g4, king g2, he goes king g1. Let's go back to Magnus Carlsen versus Nodirbek game. After knight d3, queen a5 was played, rook to c4. Well, knight f4 might have been once again a better solution, but here bishop f5, knight takes b4, bishop e6, and he's attacked the rook. If the rook moves away, the knight falls. The rook does not have this square. It can go to e4, but then d5. Magnus has not played the best, but there have been some more moves. Knight c2, bishop takes c4, b takes c4, queen a2, bishop d5, and guys, Magnus is worse here. Maybe Nodirbek goes to beats Magnus again, maybe, but Magnus has just sacrificed in exchange and said, like, I'll play d3, I'll play knight e3, b7 is weak, a7 is weak, and could be that Magnus would be able to hold this, but very difficult. Magnus also has less time than Nodirbek, so Nodirbek can take his time. He had come close to, Nodirbek is just had beaten Magnus at World Rapid, and now once again better Rook B8. He's asking Magnus, where is your attack? Magnus says, I don't want to attack. I want to play positionally. You take, but he keeps the queen on the board, now attacking D2. So let's go D3. So queen has gone back here, and Magnus Carlsen has to figure out how to play. He will definitely be under a lot of stress. But guys, do you think Magnus will lose once again to Nodirbek? That will be a big result. Meanwhile, Esipenko has started activating stuff. Anish has a great position here. Om Prajapati, thank you for becoming backer of Indian Chess, a second member of today. And knight e5 jump by Eric Hansen. He's played his knight in the center, and now c5. Let's go. Let's activate our position, because bishop c5 puts pressure on f2 as well. Look at the pressure that Magnus must be feeling, right? For example, if he loses, everyone's like, oh my god, you lost. If he wins, no one really gives him enough credit because they think he will win anyway. So queen a4. Well, right now white has very good compensation in the form of centralized pieces, but it may not be enough. Just a second, guys. I'll be back in a second. Meanwhile, I'm going to put on the game of Pragnananda for a second. I'll be back. It's played c5, and now after bishop takes c5, it's going to attack the f2 point. Takes with the knight. Why didn't he take with the bishop? Could have taken with the bishop, putting pressure here. Instead took with the knight, and now his point was the bishop cannot go back because the knights can take it. Maybe he was expecting something, but rook c3, very good. And now Eric can move his rook, not just defend this, but also move his rook to g3. So Pragnananda here trying to push Eric. Meanwhile, Magnus in a almost lost position against the youngster Abdusattorov. And If Abdusattorov wins this, that will be a big achievement. So he's already ahead on time. He has 6 minutes. Magnus has only 3 minutes. But still, will he be able to convert this into a win? I don't think he'll be able to play this for a win, but still, I mean, a5, knight goes back to d3. You know, both these pieces were actually fighting for the d5 square. b5, he's opening it up. b5. Now rook takes c1, queen takes c1, and then now queen takes b5 with the a passer, with the bishop looking at the queening square. Abhishek Deshpande, thank you so much. Yes, after this game I will end the stream today. I think roughly tomorrow I'll do all 4 games, because tomorrow we have Pragnananda versus Carlsen. We have some Anish versus Pragnananda. It's going to be great fun. Oh, meanwhile, look at this. Magnus goes into c7. Rook f8 takes. On d6. It's not so simple, guys. Magnus Carlsen winning a 1 position against the world champion is the toughest thing ever. And right now you can see Nodirbek wants to beat the world champion. Look at his expressions. He is so focused. He really wants to do it. He believes he can beat Magnus. Plays his pawn to a4. And now Magnus is a wounded animal. He knows that if the pawn reaches here, he will be in trouble. I feel that Magnus, of course Magnus is worse, but I feel like he will not lose this. We'll see. Let's keep an eye on this. Meanwhile, Pragnananda after rook c3 has gone in deep thought. He's gone down on time over Eric. So rook g3 is going to be quite a powerful move. Look at this. Levon Aronian is going to has won his game against Alexandra Koscienyuk. a4 pushed by Nodirbek Abdusattorov. Meanwhile, Anish Giri still having good pressure, I think, in this position, although some of it has been alleviated because of the fact that lesser pawns on the board means much freedom for the bishop. Also, the bishop can go from c8, b7 to attack this. So Esipenko's chances now looking pretty okay. Still fine. Knight b4 has been played. Point is, after a3, the knight will sit on a2 with the cover of bishop on d5. Well, I think Magnus was better, guys. Just to show you where Magnus after bishop b4 knight here, already things went wrong. Maybe rook c4 was just the start in the wrong direction. To go knight f4, knight d5. Takes bishop e6, and now he could have moved his rook away. g5 anyway, but takes, a2 falls, bishop d5, rook b8, keeps the queen on the board, and then is going to execute this a5 and b5 in the position. Take, yeah, this knight b4, a3, e4. And now how do we break this final barrier? We want to push this pawn towards queening, but right now two guards are sitting there. They're like, we shall not let you pass. Going back to Pragnananda's game, Eric Hansen has got his queen here to g4. He's quite creatively started an attack. And yeah, the queen is very well positioned. f6, maybe that's what Pragg may do, but already his position looks doubtful for sure. Also the knight on b4 is hanging. So he goes knight to b3. Wow, what sort of move is that? If I take on b3, I mean, he took the bishop here, but there is a very deadly move now. Can Eric Hansen find it? Guys, what is the winning move for white here? It's a very tough one. Can you find it? It's not going to be easy for you. Can you find it? Oh, he finds it. He finds it. Eric Hansen has found this move. And you can see Pragnananda there. He is completely focused on the board. Knight f7. And a lot of you have also said this move. So well done, guys. All those who said before, actually I shouted. Harsha, Aditya, Chayan, Manchanda, Rakshit Singh, Andaburger, Arav, Satvik, Shaibi Binoj, Ayush Maurya. Well done. Well done, well done, well done. Knight f7 is such a crazy move, because now the main point is that if you were to take with the rook, then rook c8 with the protection of the queen. So if you take rook here, then knight d8, queen is gone. So if you take with the king, then what's the move, guys? What's the move? I want at least 25 people to tell me what's the move here. Knight f7 is just killing move. Killing. Great move by Eric Hansen. This is just over. Checkmate. Yeah, let's go back to Magnus's game, because Pragnananda is in trouble. He's played h5. He wants to move it away so that he can take rook f7 and then rook c8. He can take queen c8. But you can remain on this, or a very simple thing is knight d8, hg, and rook. That would be another way to continue in that position, which is very simple and straightforward actually. So Magnus's game, going back there, he was in big trouble. But now what has he done? Ooh, he's managed to equalize the position. How? d4, bishop f6. And knight, bishop a2, queen b8, queen c5, king to g7, knight d5. So Magnus actually has managed to equalize the position. Nodirbek is no longer better, but can Nodirbek enter into the position with queen b2? Because that would mean that she's Can Nodirbek do that? Queen to b2. He goes queen b2. He's played that move. But now Magnus has to find knight takes f6, the only move. And then after queen takes a2, what's the move here, guys? What is the way in which white can get a good position? What's the move here? Knight h5, Tizia Kumar, queen e5, QWERTY. Both these moves are good. Amin Mohammed, queen e5. Yes, knight h5 is the fastest way to draw, because after you take, check, king here, check, perpetual. But Magnus goes for the other move, queen e5, which keeps some tension in the position. He can now go knight g4. He can even go knight h5. And it's not so easy with all the pressure here. But Abdusattorov is as cool as a cucumber. Knight e8 double check could be an issue. That's why you should not keep your king on g7 here. It's also a question where to play it. Should you go king h8? Because wherever the knight moves, I can go f6. Meanwhile, Pragnananda totally was in trouble, and I think it still is. Knight d8, bishop f2. It's a nice move, bishop f2, because if you would have taken bishop f2, I would have taken your queen. So king h1, rook g3, check, and Eric Hansen is going to beat Pragnananda. Pragnananda 3 seconds. He goes king h8, rook e5. What a beautiful move. Rook h5 is a checkmate. You want to play g6, but then knight f7 check. 1, 2, 3 attackers. Look at these two knights. They are more like donkeys there. They're just not contributing to the game. Completely lost. And now knight f7 check to g5. Pragg missed a chance to save the game. When? H5. He had to take rook c8 as we just saw, but he went queen h3, and now Pragnananda could have first taken on f2. If king f2, there is this. If bishop f2, there is rook c3 attacking the queen there. So bishop f2 would have worked wonders there, but instead, with few seconds on the clock, Pragg took knight d8, took rook g3, queen e6, king h8, rook e5, g6, knight f7, king here, take, rook f6, takes 7, queen b4. He's won back one piece, and now knight d4. Pragnananda trying to still fight on. He has only 2 pieces for a queen, but at the same time, look at this. This is weak. Pragg is going to take this home, and that is, sorry, Hansen is going to take this home. Pragg is losing. Oops, not queen e6. Queen e7 check. Rook f7 back. Yeah, queen e7 check. Rook f7 attacking the queen. Queen e5. This knight is falling. Time to resign. Well, the bishop protects it, so it's not really falling it. And meanwhile, is Magnus Carlsen playing for a win or draw? I think he is going to draw this game. He found, by the way, here after queen e5, he went queen b1, king here, queen b7, d5, queen b2, knight e8 double check, king here, check, king h8, queen e7, only move. What a move by Magnus. King g7, knight d7, and finally Magnus Carlsen manages to draw the game. Amazing. Amazing. By the way, Anish is playing a pawn endgame here against Esipenko, and can he win this? What is going to be the result of this? Because if you take, then pawn takes. It's not a passer. It's not a passer here. Nepo has beaten Mamedyarov. Aronian has beaten Koscienyuk. This one, Esipenko has to be careful here. But I think there are many ways to hold this, right? Even if I go here, it's a draw. It's take, take. It's a draw. So, yeah, this is not so difficult for Anish to hold. Can Pragnananda create some kind of a miracle here with just 16 seconds left for Eric Hansen? He goes here, king h6. But it is not easy. 5 seconds left for Eric. He plays queen d8, king g7, rook takes d5. Somehow the white king is safe for now, but can we create any threats like bishop g3, but then just take? Takes on h4. Check. Nice check. Rook f7. Oh, he takes there. Nice move. Just clarifying, giving back the queen, then taking this pawn, and then this pawn will queen. So Pragnananda has to resign now. Now Pragg is going to resign. Meanwhile, Abdusattorov has drawn against world champion Magnus Carlsen. Anish Giri versus Esipenko also going to end in a draw. Yeah, they are repeating. So Anish. Meanwhile, Pragnananda has resigned. That means Eric Hansen goes through. I mean, 2 out of 2, and here Anish has also drawn his game against. They had equal pawns and they drew. So the news from here is that Artemiev won against Liem Quang Liem. Pragnananda lost to Hans Niemann. Pragnananda lost to Eric Hansen. Hans Niemann is playing against Ding Liren. Here. And Vincent Keymer beat Duda. That's a big result. Vincent is in good form here. And this move, bishop c1, because if rook c1, there is queen at 6 check, winning the rook. Koscienyuk, Levon, Aronian. Levon won his game against Kosteniuk. Shakhriyar Mamedyarov lost to Nepomniachtchi. His last move was deflection. And very nice actually, guys. What is the winning move here for black? Black to play and win. Black to play and win. Yeah, 4 rounds today. Yes, Jihan Shah Sumit Puri, Shashwat Parida. Here check. If he moves, you queen. If he takes, you check and you win the rook. So that is not good. Esipenko and Anish drew. Nodirbek and Magnus also ended in a draw. Actually, Nodirbek, first Magnus had a great position after knight b4, here when the material was equal, but then somehow instead of knight f4 and taking control of the d5 square, white went wrong. He went rook c4 and then he landed up in a tough position, and actually Nodirbek played really well. Queen c7, f8, queen d6, a4, knight b4, a3. And here is actually the moment where black could have improved, maybe with rook c8 or rook e8, but he went bishop f6, bishop a2, got his knight in, and somehow is not very carefully played by Nodirbek. Rook c8 would have given him a win. So with this, I think we've come to the end of round 2, and let's have a look at the score. Aronian is now leading with 6 points along with Eric Hansen. Magnus Esipenko on the joint second position. Right now Niemann and Liren are still playing. If Liren wins, he will join at the top. Pragnananda is still on 1 point. Anish Giri drew both his games, so he's on 2 points. There are 3 points for a win, 1 for a draw, and 0 for a loss. What are the pairings that will happen today later in the day are the following. This one is Nodirbek Artemiev in round 3, Esipenko Carlsen, Nepo Anish Koscienyuk Mamedyarov, Vincent Levon, Niemann Duda, Pragg Liren, Liem Quang Eric Hansen. And here is the last round for today. Artemiev, Eric Hansen, Liren, Liem Quang Duda versus Pragg, Aronian versus Niemann, Mamedyarov, Vincent, and Anish, Kosteniuk, Carlsen, Nepo. Carlsen, Nepo is the last game of today. So for now, guys, I'll take your leave, and I'll be back tomorrow. Tomorrow I intend to stream all the 4 games. Today we did 2, and right now I think there's 1 game left, or what? We finished that one? Yes, Niemann versus Liren. Okay, let's get them on the screen. Are they still there? Niemann thing. Hans. Yeah. Somehow things camera is not working. So let's see. Checking which. King f5, b6, knight here. And this is check. I don't know. King f4, he might win this pawn, but if black gets this pawn, it should be a draw. Yeah, this will end in a draw. And so, guys, with that, I will take your leave for today. Thank you all for joining in. Tomorrow, I hope we'll have a more exciting and intense session. Today was great start. It's a long event. It'll last for 8 days. I'll be there tomorrow at 10:30 p.m. Until then, guys, take care. Good night. Bye bye, and see you all.